Demon.
Yes.
Tony.
I'm sorry, Devon. What was the question?
Does Tank beat Lomachenko?
Man, with the that's a 50-50 fight to me. I don't know. I don't know. I really like Lomachenko a lot, but I feel like he can't be vulnerable. So 50-50.
Okay. Ryan Garcia. Does Tank Davis beat Ryan Garcia? K-Rod.
Yeah, Tank beats Ryan.
Demon.
50-50 fight.
Tony.
At 135, yes. At 140, I feel like it's closer. I agree with Demon. I feel like it's closer to a 50-50 fight at 140. Ryan looks really comfortable at 140.
Okay. So we just knocked out the top 5 according to Ring Magazine. I'm looking at the ratings right now. So the top 5. So we're a little bit split here and there. I didn't put my vote in, but I guess I will for the sake of it as I guess like a tiebreaker maybe. So George and Tank. Tank beats George.
I think. Late stoppage. Late stoppage. Good fight. Good fight, but late stoppage. Teofimo and Tank. That could be a war right there. That can be a straight up war.
Wow. That's a tough fight right there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go 50-50 there. I hate not to be able to give you guys a name, but I'm gonna go 50-50 with Teofimo and Tank. And I agree with Tony. I think one of the biggest reasons why Teofimo lost to George is he underestimated him. That was, to me, is very clear. He came out the gate like he's trying to knock his ass out in the first round. He had no respect for George, and George stood his ground. And then as the fight went on, he was losing those middle rounds to George. After he get knocked down, he tried to fight his way back, and he kind of did towards the end, made the fight interesting. But I just think that biggest reason why is he just said George ain't shit. He had his mind somewhere else, and that happens in boxing. Just like Mike Tyson was having orgies in Tokyo. That's why he lost to Buster Douglas. Facts. So it happens, right? And I agree with Tony. Like if you get Teofimo's mind right and get his dad to go sit his ass down somewhere and let his son be who he needs to be, I think he beats George.
Nothing wrong with it, just the orgy, though.
Definitely nothing wrong with it. And I'm sure Mike Tyson doesn't regret it. I'll take that loss after all those orgies. So it is what it is. But in regards to boxing, it happens, right? Teofimo's mind was somewhere else, and I know he said his esophagus blew up. He was choking on his own like lung fluid. He hurt his toe. He was going through some other shit with his kids. I mean, it's like, man, look, bro, you underestimated George. That's the bottom line. So based off of that, I think it's a 50-50 fight between him and Tank. Lomachenko and Tank. Yeah, I think Tank wins that. I think Tank wins that by just landing more power shots. Punching in between Lomachenko's punches, but that could be very possibly like a split decision, razor close type fight. I don't see him stopping Lomachenko. I know a lot of people don't agree with me on that. I think Lomachenko's a lot tougher than what people give him credit for. And then Ryan Garcia, Davis knocks out Garcia. Period. That's not even a debate. I don't even have to think about that one. And if anybody's wondering why, well, he leaves his fucking chin up in the air. That's why. Ryan Garcia leaves his chin up in the air, and Tank has shown multiple times that he has no problem taking a punch to throw a better punch when your hands are where they need to be, with chin up in the air. It happened to Rolly. It happened to Leo Santa Cruz. It happened to many other fighters. It happened to Mario Barrios. And he'll continue to do that against somebody like Ryan, who loads up with too many shots. It gets too confident, you'll get caught. So,
Hey, Devon, not to cut you off, but I will say this, though. Tank moved up to 140 and fought Barrios with no problem. But when Ryan asked him to move up to 140, I get that he's at one side, but I think he might have been a little bit more hesitant because maybe he does have a little bit of respect for Ryan. Maybe at the back of his mind, he probably never admitted it, but maybe I feel like that's a little respect. I mean, you were holding a regular belt at 140, but you won't fight Ryan at 140.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I mean,
oh,
I think that's fair. I mean, Ryan. The thing about it is with Ryan is that I mean I think he's going to be at 140. I think it's clear that he could possibly be struggling to continue to make 135. You know, the dude is 5'10". You know, he's a tall, big, lightweight. And so 140 makes sense. Now Tank, like you said, he moved up to fight Barrios at 140. He can totally fight at 140. We know this, but for sure, like you look at Ryan, it's like when people get mad at me when I talk about Ryan, they say, "Oh man, you hating on Ryan." I say, I'm not hating on him. I think the dude is skilled. I mean, he's not absent skill, but it's just styles make fights, and Tank's just gonna catch him. He's gonna catch him in between the punches, man. I don't. For me, it doesn't matter 135 or 140, in my opinion. Now he may put on a better showing than Mario, and Mario didn't. By the way, Mario didn't do a bad showing.
I agree.
He had his moments in the fight. He made it compelling, and he was a lot bigger than Tank. I mean, visibly a lot bigger than Tank. But I think, with that being said, Ryan's a bit more well-rounded in comparison to Mario Barrios, and I think he'll make it even more interesting than what Mario did. But I still think he gets caught, man. I will be shocked. I will be shocked if Ryan doesn't get caught with something late. It's just that I just see that same discrepancy over and over again in almost every single fight that he has. And the reason why he hasn't fixed it is because, well, he hasn't been truly exposed to it. He's been knocked down or whatever, but maybe he thinks, oh, that was just a flash knockdown. He gets up and continues to do the same shit. And it's going to take him probably to get knocked out to be like, wow, okay, I need to fix this. I look at Ryan, I see a lot of ego, I see a lot of pride, I see a lot of entitlement, and it's just his day is coming to get humbled. And rather that is against Tank or somebody else, I think that day is coming, and that's just my opinion about Ryan Garcia.
Very thorough. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. So look, I mean, we went down the list as far as Tank. Now, I get what Demon is saying. I like the resume. I mean, if you're sitting there arguing for Tank based off of resume, I'm sorry, but there's not much substance there. Now, if you say, well, Divine, like Tony said, if we just base it off of the eye test on what we see so far on what Tank can do, and if that's your basis, then okay, we can have a conversation. And that's why I threw out these names on who you think Tank can beat and not beat. But every single name that I mentioned, rather it's George, Teofimo, Lomachenko, Ryan Garcia at 135, those are names that he needs to fight ASAP. Period. Now, another thing is, and I can throw this out to you guys too, is there's been rumors that he might move back up into 140 and fight Josh Taylor and try to take those straps up there, because he's with Floyd. Floyd's all about getting these straps and putting him up against guys that favors him stylistically. Does he beat Josh Taylor? Let's throw that out there. K-Rod, does Tank Davis beat Josh Taylor?
yeah, definitely. I think Gervonta sleeps him. I don't think Josh Taylor he can comfortably make the weight properly, but I don't think on his best night, Gervonta would ever have any problems against him. I think Taylor he shows a lot of flaws in which not a lot of southpaws really go through against other southpaws, but in the rarity of his case, he's very how should I say, he's very defensively irresponsible, facing other southpaws. And I think Gervonta's skill set will just break him late game, where the fight itself isn't going to be competitive when Gervonta finds a pathing to hurt him. And I think Taylor, he's very weak to the body. I can easily see that out of him. I don't think Josh Taylor is going to handle the pressure from Gervonta. I think Gervonta, all he needs to do is just force Taylor to his weak side, and then just break him down to the body and force him to his back foot, where Taylor he can't make adjustments. And Tank Tank will basically just do the same thing like it does to any other opponent that he tries to knock out. But he's just gonna take his time and just basically let the knockout come to him.
Demon.
Now, this is how I feel about that one. I really feel Josh Taylor boxed the ears off of Tank Davis. Tank Davis is a midget. And that man, Josh Taylor, is big. That's a big dude right there. And I think that he boxes the ears off of Tank Davis. Tank Davis is like, let me sum this up about Tank Davis if we got a little minute. Tank Davis is like early Mike Tyson. Yeah, he looked good. The eye test was good. But what you didn't look at was he was fighting tomato cans. When he got in there with real fighters, some real champions, some real hearts, it was bye-bye. He getting knocked out. He biting dude's ear. Lennox boxing the ears off of him. People beating him. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at when he got in there with Evander Holyfield, how Evander was just whooping Tyson. And that's how it is when a real fighter gets in there with Tank. He's going to whoop Tank. Tank is not good. And we still didn't talk about if his chin can hold up.
I disagree with that because Javante is nowhere near like a Mike Tyson per se, but to a mindset point of view, Javante is way better than Tyson. If Tyson if Tyson was focused, he would be on that level. But
I mean, we just
Mike
don't know.
Tyson, yeah,
Not to
yeah,
cut
like
you off,
yeah,
K-Rod,
yeah,
but
sorry.
what we just don't know Tyson and how he would be if he didn't go to prison and
Yeah,
coming back.
like
And we have to understand, like, he fought Lennox when he's really not in his prime anymore, coming out of prison. Like, to make a fair assessment, and all credit to Lennox Lewis. I mean, he did what he had to do. But let's say Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson, in 1994, 1995.
or 1992.
I got to say something about that. Let me tell you something. As a dude that been there before, prison preserves you. Prison preserves your mind, your body, your everything. Prison preserves you. I don't know what y'all think about prison or whatever, but it ain't like the movies. It preserves you. You getting good sleep. You can work out. You do everything you need to do in prison, and you're confined to do nothing but work out. We're not giving Tyson excuses. Oh, he just got out of prison. B-Hop came out of jail and was whooping shit. He came out of prison whooping shit. So there's no excuse. So what's the excuse when he fought Evander? Then what happened? I want to hear the excuse.
Yeah, but Mike Tyson wasn't in his prime. Like that's like the biggest takeaway from it. Like
Prison heals all those wounds that you have. Believe it or not, if you look at a person that gets out of prison, they're fit, they're in shape, they look younger, they have a prison glow to them. I'm not glorifying prison. I'm just telling you, all those nicks and necks that Tyson had, they were gone by the time he got out of prison. He had time to work on the craft. What's going on before Evander?
I mean,
yeah,
I think it's debatable. I mean, I think prison affects everybody a little bit differently.
Yeah, because it's a different ball game.
I've been locked up as well. You know what I'm saying? Um, and yeah, you're right. You do eat. You get your 3 meals a day. You got nothing to do but fucking sleep and work out. So yeah, that's true. But I tell you what, like mentally, I was fucked up personally. Can't see my kids. My kid at the time couldn't see my girl at the time. Um, you know what I mean? And people always try. You always looking over your shoulder all the fucking time. You're paranoid as fuck. Every time you go into the lunch hall to eat, somebody gonna fucking shank you. It's crazy, bro. Like you're mentally stressed the fuck out. Now maybe Mike didn't have to go through that. I don't know because he's a celebrity status. Maybe they kept an eye on him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not. I remember when he came out of prison, the dude got. I mean, he was fucking built. Like you could tell he put on a lot of muscle. He looked strong and shit like that. But we don't know. To me, it wasn't his physicality that was affected by prison. It was his mental. Like you got to understand. Like why did he go to prison? He went to prison because he was accused of rape, bro.
Yeah,
now, rather he did it or not, like that shit sits heavy on your mind the whole time you're in there. He had kids at that time. He couldn't see his kids. What does his kids think about him now? Is daddy a rapist? Like that shit gotta fuck with you. So when he came out and look at the press conference between him and Lennox, like he was saying all kinds of crazy shit. Like I'll fuck you till you love me and all this other crazy shit. Like Like this dude, like he wasn't the same mentally. Like he had never been like that before prison.
I
No,
think
he
that was.
wasn't.
I think that was
He
all
was
cat.
always kind of like, he always had a little bit of a New York type of, vibe to him. He
Yeah.
come from the streets and shit like that. But when he came out of prison, he was talking about all kinds of, I'll fuck you in the ass, I'll make you my bitch, I'll like crazy dark shit. He got like crazy tattoos. He became a Muslim. Like he mentally, he went to a different place,
Okay,
and I
but
don't think you can argue that.
okay, but in the beginning, did they have a mic in his face? Did his handlers let him talk before that? Like really let him express himself? That was the Mike Tyson that you met back then. They was shielding the world from that. Now, no, I don't believe he raped nobody. I don't put that on nobody. But I know once you're settled in the prison as a man that can sit down for 3 years, once you sit down and you're in there, your mind is adapted to there. Like you're in there, you're not worried about the outside world. You're not worried about that. You're just worried about doing your time. What happened was he got out and he faced a boxer, a pure boxer. His sweet science, Evander, the real deal Holyfield, and he got his ass beat. And that's the same thing that's going to happen to Tank Davis if he gets in there with Dead. That's how I feel.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, if you want to use Evander as a talking point, like I feel you. Evander Holyfield he doesn't get the credit he deserves, in my opinion. The dude was a hell of, he was a hell of a cruiserweight. He was a hell of a heavyweight. He fought fucking everybody.
Two division undisputed.
And he was in shape. He was strong. He had boxing ability. He had determination. And yeah, Mike Tyson ran into a fucking like a real dude. Like he's a real one. You know what I'm saying? But Lennox though, Mike Tyson was 35. He clearly wasn't the same fighter. It's very, very clear.
Not the same.
If you go back and watch that fight, just clearly not the same. Now Holyfield, he was 30. He was 30 years old when he fought Holyfield, so definitely still in his prime. In the first fight, it was basically the best versus the best. It was a fight that a lot of people were waiting to see for years. We finally got it. And Evander frustrated him. You know what I mean? And so that's fine. But the Lennox one, nah. And I love Lennox. I love Lennox Lewis. I think he's one of the best to ever do it, in my opinion. But nah, I can't ride with that. 2002, Mike Tyson, nah, can't do it. But I hear you. I think
my phone is tripping. Let me go out and come back in. My phone is tripping.
Oh, good. Yeah. So, the comparison between Tank, Mike, him, and looking at Mike Tyson and Tank, I would say I somewhat agree with it, not entirely. But where I do agree is that Tank hasn't been tested. There might be a situation where he does face off against somebody like Devin and get outboxed, like Evander Holyfield outworked and outboxed Mike Tyson. He might run into even a Lomachenko. Lomachenko might fucking outbox his ass as well, and as much as Lomachenko irritates me in regards to him kind of being like this golden child at lightweight, he seemingly continues to get these big fights, even though he has 2 losses on his fucking resume. He continues to be like, like getting all this glamour and shine. That part irritates me, but the dude is skilled. At the end of the day, Lomachenko's skilled. He's a very tough fighter to beat. So yeah, you're right. Like he might run into someone like Lomachenko or a Devin Haney who has good boxing skills that will just square him up, put him behind the jab, and he can't do shit about it. And he's just going to get picked apart. And every time he tries to get off, he's going to get tied up. A guy like Lomachenko and Devin Haney, they're going to use angles. They're going to work behind the jab. They're going to use their for Devin, he's going to use his length. For Lomachenko, he's going to use his duck in and out ability, turning him. And Tank will be forced to box Lomachenko. It's not going to be a Mario Barrios or a Leo Santa Cruz where they just stand in front of him. Lomachenko will be bouncing around, going to the body, and forcing Tank Davis. And we're going to see what Tank Davis's real boxing ability is. It's not going to be reliant purely on power. When he fought Mario Barrios, Leo Santa Cruz, and Rolly Romero, it was about power. It's like, he didn't need to box. He just needed the time and catch them with a big shot, and that's what happened. That won't work against Lomachenko, in my opinion. He's going to have to show his boxing skill, just like he'll have to show his boxing skill against Devin Haney. And that's just the way I feel about it.
I seen one guy for respectable power actually box. I seen Deontay Wilder when he fought Remains the Firm that first fight, and he just boxed beautifully. And they didn't think that he had that in him. Now you take a guy like Wilder, he wants to fight everybody, he wants to fight the best. Then you take another power puncher like Tank. I haven't seen Tank get in a situation where power nullifies. You know what I'm saying? Where that power doesn't add up. Yeah, he boxed Pitbull Cruz, but Pitbull Cruz is a baby midget. He's a child. He's the size of a child. So you can't add that up. And I think actually Pitbull outboxed him, just from my eyes. So I don't feel like Tank is just that. And we still haven't talked about, can his chin hold up? He ain't been tested yet. If he get hit, what he gonna do? Because somebody can hit Tank and he R.I.P.
Do you think Devin Haney can knock out Tank?
Ah, shit, man. I don't know.
Because that's what we're really talking about right here. That's what we're really talking about.
Okay, let me say this. Can anyone get hit with a lucky punch?
Of course.
Yeah.
So when you go in the boxing ring, you earn the risk of getting knocked out. So anybody can get knocked out. There's a possibility that Devin Haney can knock out Tank Davis. There is a possibility. We're not going to leave that out. So it can happen.
I don't think so. I mean, if he can't stop Kambosos or even knock him down, then he ain't knocking down or knocking out Tank. Now he can outbox him. He can win 12 rounds. That's for me. That's not debatable. I think I would put big money on it. I think, I would put big money on it. I would bet money Haney by decision. But as far as knocking him out, so once again, if we do get the Haney Davis fight, once again, Tank Davis' chin is not tested. Not against Devin Haney. It's not. You got to put him in there against Teofimo.
I mean, have we ever seen Tank get hit? Have we ever seen him get hit?
Yeah. He got hit against Rolly. Rolly hit him clean.
Yeah, Rolly hit him mad flush.
Yeah,
Rolly hit him clean. Yeah. Cruz, I wouldn't say Cruz hit him like flush, but Cruz beat him up a little bit. Cruz was on top of him. He was putting in work. Barrios put in some nice body work, nice jab. Mm-hmm. Has he been lined up and timed perfectly with like a beautiful right hand down the pipe? Maybe not. But, I mean, I don't think anybody can sit up here and be like Devin's one of the biggest punchers in the division. I mean, like it is what it is. Floyd Mayweather, he wasn't either. But by the time he left 140, nobody even thought that he would knock anybody out. Like, I mean, he knocked out Ricky Hatton, and that was about it.
Oh no, he knocked out the what's the boy name for the WBC title at 47?
Oh, Victor Ortiz.
Well, Victor Ortiz, but come on. I mean, I'm not knocking Floyd for that, but I'm saying like he wasn't in an exchange or lined something up like in a straight up like fight and knocked him down. I mean, Victor Ortiz made a mistake by not protecting himself, and I to this day, by the way, will fucking like die with this. I'll take this shit to my grave. Victor Ortiz quit.
Yeah, he quit.
I just seen
quit. He got hit with the 2-piece, and he said, "All right, man, I can't beat this dude." He quit.
Yeah, but I just seen Earl Spence get hit like that too, and then he walked Ugas down.
Yeah.
So, all I'm saying is this: if I need to see Tank get hit in that chin, I need to see how he gonna hold up. I need to see how his legs is gonna hold up. I need to.
No, I feel you, but it has to be someone like Teofimo.
But we just agreed that it can be anybody on any given night. Somebody can get knocked out.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, like, I'm saying though, if it's Haney's not the one to really test it. Haney will test him boxing wise,
Right.
but Haney's not gonna like Haney couldn't really hurt Kambosos, and he was beating Kambosos' ass, but he didn't really hurt him. Kambosos wasn't hurt. He was just getting his ass beat. So who has a better chance, Kambosos or Tank? I mean, it's debatable. You can say, oh, well, Tank hasn't fought any big punchers, but Kambosos has. That's fair. But when Kambosos fought big punchers, he got knocked down. He got up, sure, but Tank might get knocked down and get back up too. We don't know. We don't know. It's like you're basically making your claim that if he gets touched by a big puncher, he's going to sleep. That's basically what you're saying, right?
No, it's that we don't know if he's going to go to sleep or not.
Sure, exactly. We don't know.
We don't know.
We
Now,
don't
you
know.
put him in there with a Regis. You put that man up there with Regis at 140. You don't think Regis knocks him out?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, wow. I believe so. You put him up there with the, I can't even remember the 140 champion, Josh Taylor. You don't think Taylor can knock Tank out?
No.
I don't. I think it'll be a good fight just because Josh. I mean, he's a big guy at 140.
Very big.
He's got some talent. He'll make it tough for Tank. But I mean, I've got to be honest with you. Every time someone mentions Josh Taylor, I go right back to the Catterall fight. That shit was disappointing as fuck.
I mean,
Every-
if Catterall...
everybody can have an off night.
Of course, but it's like Jack. But it's still. It's like he should have dominated that
Yeah,
fight.
he should have beat the crap out of him.
He should have beat his ass. And all that shit they were talking, and all that shit that Jack was talking to, like, you definitely should have beat his ass. And you let Jack go in there. You let him talk shit, go in there, and then remember they're like he grabbed Jack's throat and shit during the face-off. But anyway, like, that was disappointing. He's got to rectify that. That's my point.
Maybe we
Just like any fighter, if you have an off night, like when Floyd fought Maidana the first time, yeah, he snuck by, he got a victory. I thought he won, but it wasn't a domination, and Floyd knew that. So what did Floyd do? He came back, rematched him, and he beat his ass. So that's what Josh has to do. Josh has to rectify that Jack Catterall problem before I even give him any type of credit, because based off of that performance, because you're only as good as your last performance, in my opinion.
Right.
So you can go back 10 fights, but 10 fights ago he knocked this dude out. So that don't mean shit. Right now, what we saw is he got outworked by a lesser fighter, and a lot of people thought he lost the fight.
But
a lot of people thought it was a robbery.
How do we know that Jack Catterall is a lesser fighter? We're underestimating. We are doing that. When he got in the ring, it was those two men in the ring, and it didn't seem like he can hold up to Jack Catterall. And that's just me being honest.
Jack Catterall is ranked like 4 or 5, and Josh Taylor is a fucking undisputed champion, bro. So of course he's not on the same level.
Okay. Wait. Okay, let me ask you this now, Divine. Hold on now. Now you can fight 100 dudes, and that one dude come and beat you that wasn't ranked. Then what? Because anybody can beat anybody any given Sunday.
Yes. That's like saying that. That's like saying Boots can beat Earl Spence. Of course he can. But where did the odds point? The odds still point at Earl Spence.
Correct.
Because he's a champ, and he has proven himself more than what Boots has.
Okay, we all thought that Tyson was going to beat Buster, and he didn't.
Well, he was having orgies, so. When he fought Buster Douglas, I was like, I was like 5 or 6 years old. I didn't know what a fucking orgy was. But if I was older and somebody mentioned to me, hey, yo, Mike Tyson's out there in Tokyo, busting down these Japanese girls one by one, I'm going to say, yeah, he's probably going to lose. He's probably going to lose. And let's not forget, Buster Douglas lost his mom, too. So, before that fight.
I mean, I totally understand
so
that.
So, yeah, shit happens. Shit happens in boxing. Absolutely. At basically the top 10. I mean, you can argue top 15 if you wanted to, but let's just say top 10 for argument's sake. Anybody in the top 10 at this level can beat anybody at any given night.
Right.
Right? It's only the select few of fighters who who just built that way, like a Floyd Mayweather or Andre Ward, or these type of guys who, I mean, like Andre Ward, he fought everybody that was available to him, at 168, right? He fought everybody. He fought in the fucking Super Six and won it.
Right.
So it's like, and nobody can beat him, and it is what it is, right? So sometimes you get these type of fighters, and that's why we want somebody like Tank and we want somebody like Devin Haney to be like, oh, is he also that type of dude? Like, it doesn't matter who you throw at. You throw a puncher at him, he beats him. You throw a brawler, he beats him. You throw another technical fighter, boxer, puncher at him, he beats him. Like, that's what we want to see, and that's the whole point of this conversation. And we got 3 fighters that we're talking about tonight: Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, and Tank Davis, all undefeated.
Right.
How the fuck are they not fighting each other?
Let's blame it on the business of boxing. They're scared of them.
Okay, let's put it this way. Those 3 names that I just mentioned: Tank, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. Who do you think boxers are afraid of the most? Like, either it's one another or other people in the top 5. Like, who's the most feared in regards to stepping in the ring with? I'm not talking about fear like, oh, I might get knocked out. Simply fear as in stepping in the ring and going face to face and fighting a boxing match with a person. Who is the most avoided fighter of those 3 names? Ryan, Tank, or Haney?
Devin Haney. Easy.
K-Rod.
Devin.
And I agree with you. I agree with you both. That Haney is the most avoided fighter at 135, and you can even say 140. You can throw 140 in there if you want to. Just because Tank has fought at 140 before, Ryan Garcia is talking about fighting at 140, and Devin Haney more than likely eventually will go to 140 himself. So you can throw that in there, and I think he's avoided because when you go up against, it's like this. If you go up against Teofimo, you literally, because George laid the blueprint, you stand up to him. You stand your ground to him. You don't get bullied, you don't get scared, and you fight, basically you fight fire with fire, or you outbox him. Because let's also remember this: Lomachenko lost the fight against Teofimo because he started way too slow. But towards the end of that fight, Lomachenko got into a groove and started beating Teofimo. And that's why a lot of people want to see that rematch, because a lot of people think that Lomachenko will pick up where he left off and outbox Teofimo, especially now that Kambosos has beat him. So when you fight somebody like Teofimo, it's like you got to prepare for a guy who's going to try to knock your fucking head off. So you know what you're getting. But with Devin, you got to bring your hard hat. You got to bring your lunch pail. You got to bring your picnic blanket. You got to prepare for a lot of shit when you're fighting with Devin, because you don't know. You got to get past his jab. You got to get past his counter right hand. You got to get past his body work. You got to get past his lateral movement, his pivots. He's going to turn you. He's going to tie you up, which a lot of people hate, but that's part of boxing. He's going to do a lot of different shit. So you got to do a lot of film study, a lot of work, a lot of effort to prepare for a guy like Devin Haney, and that is facts. Now, when it comes to Tank Davis and preparing for a fight against him, you know that he has the ability to slip underneath punches and catch you with some shit that you don't see. And he can hurt you, possibly knock you out. So he has that fear factor there. But if you're Devin Haney, you ain't worried about that shit. You ain't worried about it. You ain't worried about it if you're Devin Haney. And to be honest with you, I don't think you're worried about it if you're Lomachenko either, in my opinion. You go out there and you box the man. You turn the man. You get behind your jab. You make him swing and miss. And don't let him get comfortable. Tank Davis sets his feet, he's dangerous.
Mm-hmm. I get his bums.
Yeah. And so this is boxing, right? We're comparing apples and oranges when we say, oh, well, Mario Barrios, he was pretty big and strong. That don't mean shit in boxing.
Right.
Some dude standing right in front of his ass. All Tank Davis had to do was time, lean down, loop a left hand over the top, boom. Just like he did against Rolly. You think that Lomachenko and Devin Haney is going to allow that shit to happen? I mean, come on.
It would never happen.
And so, I've never, I haven't seen in the chat so far tonight anybody saying in here that they think that Haney's gonna, that Tank can beat Haney. I see a lot of people supporting Tank. They like Tank. They think Tank is great, but I will continue to wait for anybody to come in here and explain to me on why they think Tank will beat Devin Haney. I will wait for that explanation.
My thing is this, Divine. How do you get credit for beating C and B fighters? You praise this man for beating lower competition, but then you scold Wilder for the beginning of his career and everybody else. But this man is still fighting nobody, and everybody loves this dude. But when you get a dude that want to fight the best, he's boring. He's this. He's that. If you want to spend your money on watching this little bitty man beat on bums, then that's on you. But don't call him a great. He will not go into the Boxing Hall of Fame. He won't be nothing. He's nothing until he fights somebody. You're nothing until your last fight, and he ain't even started yet. Fight somebody.
Yeah, Gervonta is like Terrence Crawford 2.0. Same thing.
At least Crawford fighting old fighters. At least he fighting some champions, some old ones. He's fighting them. Tank has not fight anybody. Has not fought anybody. He don't want to fight nobody. He want to sit back. He want to beat up on bumps. He want to collect the check. That's your hustle. Okay, cool. I respect everybody's hustle, but you won't hustle my dollars out of my.
You got to piss the Bud fans off, K-Rod. Don't do it.
Man, fuck them.
Don't do it.
Bro, to any of you idiots from Omaha, Nebraska, I dare you to come up to me in person because I will beat the living fuck out of all of you. Seriously. I don't like y'all. You guys are fucking, disrespectful pieces of shit. But to all the Terrence Crawford fans that are educated and respectful, I respect you because, to some of them that actually do care, about Crawford's, career, I respect that. But to all the Bud Dick Riders, especially coming out of that, uneducated mental state of mind, I can't respect those type of people. These are the people that will say Terrence Crawford is pound for pound number one, but if you say anything bad about Terrence Crawford, they have to send death threats out to you because you're simply discrediting Terrence Crawford's accomplishments when clearly he has never fought the highest level competition and he has never proved himself to be pound for pound number one. You claim, Crawford to be this good, but yet he's not putting in all that hard work compared to Errol Spence. Like, nah, bro. Like, I can't, I can't, get behind that. And Terrence Crawford, is just showing himself time and time again that he's just as dumb as his own fucking fans. But, that's it,
Well, that's definitely going to be the next live stream. Y'all buckle your seatbelts.
Yeah, let me say something real fast. K-Rod, you violent, man. You need some counseling or something, man. You need a hug.
No. Like, it's just that I personally don't like Terrence Crawford dick riders, but to anybody else out of the regular, normal, debatable person that likes to have a good conversation, I'm fine with that. But I don't like it when people go super overboard, where they have to be super vigilant and aggressive to you, where anything that you say that triggers them mentally to that level, they have to get pissed off at you, as if they want to fight you. I just don't like those type of people. People people like yourself are perfect, examples of people that are able to have a good, friendly, peaceful, and educational level discussion. But when you get it, when you push it to the level of sending out death threats to people and trying to fight them over simply just a person that doesn't care about your feelings for them, it's like,
you got death threats.
Yeah. I've been given death threats by Terrence Crawford, Dick Rider fans. It's just fucking sad, man. I don't say anything but just criticize Terrence Crawford. But out of all the stupid Bud fans that I've been talking with, they always send death threats out to you for some weird reason. So,
well, like I said, Save it for the panel, K Rod. That's the next live stream, and I'm trying to get some Bud supporters in here because I got plenty of Spence supporters, but I want to make it interesting, and I want to hear people state their case in regards to Bud. And we're gonna make it simple. We're not gonna talk. We've already spoken enough about if the fight's gonna happen, why it's not. Fuck all that. We're just gonna play pretend like we used to do when we were little kids and shit. We used to do like little fantasy matchups when we were kids. Wolverine versus Superman, that type of shit. And we're just gonna say who wins and why. And we're gonna hash it out. And we're gonna see who wins the debate. And I'm gonna probably get 3 Spence people up here and hopefully 3 Bud people up here, and it's gonna get lit. And hey, the dick riders can stay in the comment section. So let's put it that way.
Yeah.
If you come up on the panel and you got no substance, then you ain't gonna be on the panel no more. Let's just put it that way. I need to hear substance. I need to hear the people want to hear a debate. All right, there's a lot of undecided people out there. There are people that like both fighters. Right? There's a lot of people that want to hear our thoughts on why we think either Spence or Bud is going to win the fight. So that's the objective. And so y'all stay tuned for that. I got a lot of messages to send out and orchestrate it, construct it, and it's going to get lit. I'm sure K-Rod will be the first one on the ballot to be in there having the discussion. But hey, you never know, K-Rod. The guy that came in here last night, he could be a Bud fan.
Yeah, man, he's a fucking retard, bro. Like, he was just so fucking retarded, man. Like, I was like, dude, I know that you don't box in real life, man. Like, you've never been to fights, you never been around gyms. Like you can easily tell when someone doesn't know what they're talking about by simply just listening to them.
It was weird because he had a weird ass name that I couldn't pronounce, and I was like, what do you want me to call you? And he was like, call me Big Daddy. I was like, nah, we ain't doing that.
Bro, he's fucking gay, man. He's a fucking gay virgin piece of shit, edgelord. Fucking 18-year-old bitch.
I was like, we ain't doing none of that here. We ain't talking like that out here. I don't know what you youngins be doing out here, but we ain't doing that.
Dude, I was way more fucking mature than that piece of shit, man.
But it's you put somebody like Bud Crawford in the title, or you put Jake Paul in the title, or you put certain names in the title of your lives, man, you're gonna get those type of people, and they take the shit personally. The whole point of the trolls is showing their booty on camera and shit like that. All that is because that's Jake Paul's people. That's Jake Paul's people right there.
Jake Paul has fans?
Wow, right there. Wow, right there.
Like got your hat type shit. Like, oh, this is funny, this is cool. Let me show my ass on camera.
Oh, yo, Divine. Hey, yo, Divine. Like, I was gonna ask you, have you been to any boxing fights or?
Yeah, like in the States. I mean,
yeah.
I've been to a lot of Muay Thai fights.
Oh, nice.
I'm out in Thailand.
Yes.
But as far as boxing matches, I went to a few when I was younger. My dad took me to a couple, but no like super big fights. Nothing like that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that's on my bucket list that I want to do. If Deontay Wilder comes back, I like nothing's stopping me. I gotta watch him fight live at least once.
I want to see Deontay Wilder fight in person, but I've been to 3 boxing fights. I don't know if I told you, but the very first fight that I went to, that was at the Turning Stone Casino back in January of this past year, or this current year. That was on the Joe Smith Jr. Steve Geffrey card. That was a pretty decent venue. The second one was, obviously, on my birthday for the Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor fight.
Yeah,
that was super. Yeah, that was super like electric. I ran into a lot of nice people there. And then this recently I was at the Edgar Berlanga fight, at the Madison Square Garden. I actually saw Devin Haney there at the fight. I saw him and his father talking to Mark Kriegel and Bernardo Osuna. I think they were doing like their little ESPN type of shit. And then I saw Miguel Cotto. Surprisingly, Amanda Serrano, she was there at the fight, but I couldn't find her. Yeah, like I don't like the Hulu Theater. The Hulu Theater is like a really small ass like venue, but
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, if I lived in the states, man, um, most of my adult life I've lived abroad, and that's kind of like set me back in regards to being able to expand my channel and my brand because I'm out here. But if I was out in the states and I went to these fights and interviewed these fighters, yeah, I mean, I'd probably be a big channel out here, considering all the years that I put in. Um, but would I trade that for the life that I've lived out here? Probably not. Just one of those things. It crosses my mind sometimes, like, oh damn, like if I lived out there for 4 or 5 years, I can accomplish X, Y, and Z. But the problem is, it's not that simple, right? It's just moving back to the states. You have some of these perks, but you gotta deal with a lot of fucking bullshit too. And
Definitely.
and I just can't. I can't deal with it. I'll get locked up. I'll go to prison probably. I just can't deal with these type of people, man. Like the dudes that show up in my live streams, I run into those people in real life, bro. I'm getting arrested. Like it's just I got to stay away from those people. And it is what it is. So, but hopefully, like I said, Wilder announces his fight. It'll probably give me enough time to plan to come back and watch that fight live, and I'll try to run into whoever I can run into when I'm there. And yeah, I mean, even something like I know the LDBC's having a get together here. What is it, like next weekend or something like that, or this weekend in
for
Texas?
what?
LDBC, they're doing like a get together. I heard.
Oh, look, I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
gonna do a meet and greet in Texas.
yeah, like a meet and greet in Texas. I was invited to it, but once again, I'm probably not going to be able to make it. It's shit like that I miss out on. But at the end of the day, it's you got to weigh your pros and cons, right? That's life. You can't do everything unless you're fucking rich. I can just jump on a private plane and go back and forth. So, other than that, you got to make decisions in life. So it is what it is, man. I see the super chat in here by Maddie, man. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for the support out here. Um, it was a topic that I thought that would be a little bit more lit, but I guess it's Monday night, so people are probably tired from work, hitting the sack, getting ready for the next day. But I guess last night was Sunday, right? So everybody was online talking about the Jake Paul shit, so it got lit. Yeah, Flatboy said August 6th. Okay, yeah, so yeah, this upcoming weekend, they have to meet and greet.
I
Yeah,
got something.
Virgil's fighting this weekend.
I got something to say. I know this is completely off the scale, but I want to bring up AJ. I think AJ go in there and knock this boy out in 6, man. I really
Damn.
believe AJ come in here and knock this boy out in 6 or 7. I think the first time they fought, I feel like it was a fluke. You know what I'm saying? I'm not taking nothing. I'm not taking nothing from I can't remember his name off the
Usyk.
top of my head.
Usyk.
Yeah, Alexander Usyk. Yeah, I can't take nothing off this. I can't take nothing from him. But I really think AJ goes here and puts on his big boy pants and go put this boy in the dirt by 6 or 7.
Damn.
Damn.
Well,
That
y'all
boy,
hear it.
that boy ain't been hit like AJ can crack. Like AJ can crack. He just needs to. I think sometimes I just feel like he needs to get out his own way. You know what I'm saying? Like some people just be in their own way. Like you a big dude, like go in here and bully this dude. Like you got what 3 to 4 inches on this dude, and you're more muscular than this dude. You know what I'm saying? Go in here, put this boy in the dirt, get your belt back, man, and stand proud. Like just it was a good fight. It was a good fight. I watched it. It was a good fight. It was a back and forth. It was a good fight. But this time, I really
It,
think
it,
AJ
it
puts
don't
him.
really matter to me. I mean, I predicted Usyk to win by decision again. But to be honest with you, it doesn't matter who wins because if Deontay is truly coming back, he might be waiting to see who wins that fight. And I believe that if you're right, Demon, and Anthony Joshua wins the fight, I think Deontay calls him out.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I
And I think
I
I
think
think
I think that's what Deontay may be waiting for. He's just chilling right now,
yeah,
and he's waiting because that fight's just right around the corner, right?
right.
And we already know that Deontay has called out Joshua before, and the fight never happened. So there might be a part of Deontay that wants Anthony Joshua to win.
Well, for me, Wilder knocks Joshua out in 3. Period. Wilder gets him out of there. Wilder's the best fighter to me. Period. Evander's the best fighter I've ever seen in my life, and Floyd is second to that. But I really feel like AJ, this time around, I really feel AJ's gonna go in there and just do his thing. You know what I'm saying? All the cameras, all everything is on him. They know we talking bad about him. You know, we gotta come in here and go do that with this boy.
The thing is, Demon, though, like, I hear what you're saying. Like, I'm not disputing the fact that AJ, like, can't crack. I believe he can crack. I mean, he's a big heavyweight, he's a strong heavyweight, he's got power. But you got to go back and watch that first fight. Watch it carefully and watch it muted. Don't listen to the commentary. Watch it and break it down. There were moments where AJ tried. He tried to bully and use his size. But one thing that bothered him a lot was that southpaw position and that constant jab in his face. And Usyk right hooking in the southpaw position, right hooking off of his jab and just continuing to turn Joshua, right? At the end of the day, Usyk is a cruiserweight. He's going to move better than what Joshua's going to move. I mean, just it is what it is. Joshua's a big-ass dude. So if you're constantly resetting Joshua, he's basically trying to chase you down. And every time you do reset and get back into range, Usyk is popping a jab in your face. But he did hit Usyk a couple of times in that fight. And Usyk, like, you saw his eyes open up. Like, damn. Like, he felt Joshua's power. There's no doubt about it. It's just a matter of can Joshua make adjustments? That's just what it comes down to. Usyk already knows what he's got to do, and Usyk's got to try to figure out, all right, will he try to, like, box me this time? And this is going to be a boxing match, which to him, that's fine. I'm ready for that. Or is he going to say, fuck it, and go on the front foot like Tyson Fury did against Wilder in the second fight? And just try to walk me down and smother me and hold me and push me around, rip body shots. And you got to understand, too, Demon, go back and watch that first fight, bro. Joshua hardly ever, he never went to the body against Usyk, bro. He was head hunting the whole time. And if you got a mover like that, you got to go to the body, bro. You got to slow this man down because you're too big to be chasing this smaller cruiserweight basically around the fucking ring. You got to take his legs out so you can set up those power shots. You feel me? So, you know, we're going to see what Robert Garcia has planned. Now, Robert Garcia does implement and emphasize the jab. When you look at his fighters, he's always drilling his fighters to jab, 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 jab. Marcus Maidana, when he fought Mayweather, had a pretty good fucking jab against Mayweather. It bothered Mayweather a little bit. So Ryan Garcia is even when he was training Brandon Rios, when Brandon Rios, before he basically gave up on boxing and looked like shit, when he was still decent, he had a pretty damn good jab for being a flat-footed fighter. So I'm actually expecting Joshua to actually step forward strong with a big, heavy jab against Usyk in this fight, and basically see if he can get Usyk to kind of, you know, get stopped in his tracks a little bit. But he's got to go to the body, man. He's got a big, heavy jab, right hand to the solar plexus. He's got to step around left hook and dig that left hook in there. But another thing too, Demon, I had to say it, bro. I think Joshua, man, I don't think being dropped a few times against Andy Ruiz and in other fights, I don't think he's confident behind that chin, bro. So that's why he doesn't commit to that step around hooks to the body and step in and like right uppercuts and shit like that. He tries to fight at range now. When you go back and watch the rematch against Andy Ruiz, now I'm being scientific with the Demon. You know how I do it. When you go back and watch that Andy Ruiz fight, the second time he stayed on the outside and boxed. Used the jab, right hand down the pipe, and moved, right? So to me, I see a shift. He's changed who he is because he has been hurt now. He's been dropped. He's been stopped. And when that happens to you, you change. You feel me? So he's got to snap out of that. And I agree with you. He's got to snap out of that and say, you know what, man, this man can't hurt me. I'm bigger. I'm stronger. My chin's good. You know, he's not an Andrew Ruiz because Andrew Ruiz can punch. Let's not get it twisted. So I just got to step to him. and I gotta possibly get hit with the jab in order for me to land a big ass uppercut on the inside and hurt him. You know, he's got to take chances against Usyk because if he stays and tries to box, Usyk is gonna bounce around like a fucking wizard and beat him in 12. Period.
Okay, now let me ask you this, and I don't want this to sound no type of funny. Now, do you believe there's somewhere that Joshua can actually outmaneuver Usyk? Do you feel like in his genetics he should be able to outmaneuver Usyk just by nature? Do you feel like he can like outbox him and just outmove him being that big?
I think at heavyweight, Joshua is decent at moving, but he can't even, like, if you look at Tyson Fury, Tyson Fury, like when he beat Klitschko, I mean, he beat Klitschko because he fucking moves around everywhere. I mean, that's what Tyson Fury actually, how he made a name for himself before Wilder, was the fact that he's like 275 pounds, bouncing around on his toes, working behind a jab. Right. Joshua's never done that. Joshua has moments where he can pop in, pop out. He can pivot a little bit. He's better than a lot of flat-footed, big, heavyweights. He's going to move better than Dillian White and those type of fighters. But is he one of the best? No. But he hasn't, up until he fought Andy Ruiz, who has a lot of fucking hand speed, has a lot of heart and a chin, he's never really had to move around a lot. He just set up his punches and boom, land a big shot and stop dudes. Or, you know, just get into an exchange and get the better of the exchange. So now in the Andrew Ruiz second fight, you saw him come out of his shell a little bit and show some boxing ability. Looked pretty good. Looked pretty solid. Right? Moved well for his size. Got some athletic ability. But Usyk, though, man, I mean, the motherfucker's doing handstand walks and backflips and shit as a cruiserweight.
Right.
This dude is like, I mean, he's athletically gifted as well, and he's a smaller man. Like, he's not moving around in much weight, bro. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if you said, all right, Usyk, Joshua, stand on the line. We're going to run a 40-yard sprint. Let's see who's faster. Joshua might win because he's powerful. But if you ask them to do a 200-meter hurdles, Usyk's going to win that because he got less weight, and he's also very athletic.
Right.
So that's the way you got to look at it. Usyk has built his entire career at boxing. Joshua has not. Joshua has built his career at kind of being a boxer puncher, but more of a puncher. He's been big and strong, and he's able to hurt guys and knock dudes out and things like that. Where Usyk has built his entire career of moving, boxing, and if he hurts a guy, he hurts him because maybe he wears him down later in fights and gets a stoppage or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, when you the eye test, like if you're a casual fan and you see Usyk stand next to Joshua, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, Joshua should win. I mean, when the first fight happened, I predicted Usyk to win. I got a lot of heat for it. I got a lot of hate. But my chick at the time, when we watched the weigh-in together, she was like, oh, he's gonna beat his ass. He's gonna beat that white dude's ass. My chick told me that. I was like, why? Well, because he looks bigger and stronger. He looks more athletically gifted. Like the eye test says, Joshua looks more athletic, right? Genetically gifted.
Right.
But it's not the way it works. You know what I mean? It is boxing, bro.
You're right. So I went back and I watched Tony Bellew. Is that the Bellew, right?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. When he fought Usyk, he was whooping Usyk ass to the end. Till he got tired. Like he was whooping his ass. So do you think if Joshua adapts that style that he can beat Usyk?
Oh, it's very possible. But again, like Joshua's gas tank has never been that great either.
Right.
Usyk's gas tank has always been good. You can argue that Usyk wins fights just purely based off of his ability to stay active deep into fights, in which, you know, stepping into the heavyweight division as a cruiserweight, you're always going to have that advantage because heavyweights traditionally fucking gas out by round 7. And I think in that first fight between Usyk and Joshua, that's a big reason why